Sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose, like Nate Diaz lost to Conor McGregor for UFC 202. There are a lot of losses in life, like the Patriots not having Tom Brady for the first 4 weeks. To find out more about Diaz, McGregor, Brady, the Red Sox, watch this week's Lateral right now.
Welcome to the Lateral, episode 5. As always, I'm joined by Krishna, my co-host, and producer, Ravi, back after a 1-week hiatus.
Where were you?
Sweden.
Oh.
Again?
I'm always in Sweden.
Sweden's where you want to go?
It's where I'm always at. That's where I'm at.
But anyway, how are you guys? What's new with you?
Nothing.
I'm doing great. No, I'm not. Just kidding. I'm kind of unhappy, and I think that's our first topic, if I'm correct.
Why are you unhappy, Ravi?
Yeah, talk to us about this.
I had a realization a couple days ago. I don't know for all of you people watching. There's this thing called the UFC.
Never heard of it.
And I came to the realization that
unlimited funds for country.
There's
only
only
one
one
F.
F in UFC.
Yeah, the 4 is not
silent
part of the acronym.
Gotcha. But anyway, I came to the realization that the UFC is pretty much as corrupt as any other sports, and for some reason, my limited capacity of sports and knowledge and corruption, I thought they weren't. I'm obviously referring to the Nate Diaz and
Conor
McGregor UFC 202 fight.
So talk to us about this corruption. What do you mean?
So we had these two arrogant, idiotic, terrible,
everything that makes
public human beings,
the U.S. great.
We had these two fighters basically come and they do their big rematch because McGregor had said, "Oh, Diaz, you won the first one because you won the lotto, essentially, and you're not a real fighter." And blah blah
actually,
blah.
Conor McGregor said after he lost that first fight, 198, he had too many steaks and potatoes before the fight. And that's
Wait,
why
he said
lost.
that?
Yeah, that was his
hilarious.
excuse. And people kept throwing out like the meme like steak and potatoes and all this other stuff and blah 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 blah. But yeah, anyway.
So the fight comes. They fight. They go 5 rounds. From where I was sitting, it looked
amazing
like
fight.
Nate Diaz got in more punches. And
did you see his face though?
Who cares?
What do you mean? Who cares?
Who cares?
It looked like a can of tomatoes.
Some people are able to take more punches than some other people.
Yeah,
that's true.
And Nate Diaz is one of those types of fighters that can take a lot.
As we know from 198, Conor McGregor dominated the first round. Nate Diaz looked out like a pumpkin.
Nate Diaz got 2 punches in the second round, and McGregor was spinning around like it was.
You're thinking the third round.
Third round? Was it a third?
Are you thinking for 198 or this last one?
198.
Oh, yeah, in the second round.
In the second round.
He knocked him out in the second round.
He knocked him out.
Sorry.
So anyway...
Or submitted him.
Right. From where I was sitting in UFC 202, McGregor he got hits on Diaz. Yeah, Diaz was bleeding, but Diaz did not look like he was confused and didn't know where he was. He was holding his own. Nate got a couple of punches on McGregor, and it was very clear there were points where McGregor was once again confused, like in 198.
So from what I saw, the fight was similar, but it went longer. So McGregor really dominated those first 2 rounds for 202. Pretty clearly won them scoring wise, similar to round 1 of 198, and then round 3 is where it really turned. For 202,
I actually think it was so one-sided. One of the judges ruled that round 10-8.
Round 3
in Diaz's favor.
That's right.
That's how one-sided
because
it was.
then he started landing punches and looked like,
and McGregor was
here it goes again. Like I think there were a lot of people, especially when we watched it where we were, that thought McGregor was going to go down again in round 3, kind of like he did in round 2 in 198. But I think McGregor was a little stronger this time.
Yes.
Endurance-wise, he was more comfortable with the 170 weight.
With that extra weight, absolutely.
Yeah. Versus last time where I don't think he was as comfortable with it. And then he survived. Then he won probably round 4. He came back and he was it wasn't as dominant as 1 and 2 for McGregor, but he still landed more punches than Diaz. Diaz looked a bit tired, and then 5, I think Diaz probably won.
But if you look at
that's my thing, though.
Yeah.
So if you look if you look at it as a whole, and maybe one of these days in my free time, I'll sit and watch a UFC fight again. But from what I remember, I would say Diaz won the whole thing, and then the UFC gives it to McGregor. And honestly, I think the only reason the UFC gave it to McGregor was so that they could potentially get a third fight, make this a trilogy.
Well, they're going to do a third.
And it's like,
there's no way they won't.
That's cool and all, but like, why? Like, I don't know. It's I get it's money, but it's like we're supposed to be watching a sport which is supposed to be two professionals, two athletes, right?
It's true.
Go at it. We don't need the added politics of the UFC and the extra baggage that comes with I want to make money and so forth.
I think though you might be if we agree with the scoring that Arjuna just described, though McGregor won 3 rounds to Diaz outright winning 2 rounds. So
even though Diaz's third round was the most dominant round, the fight.
Right. It seems like McGregor, and that's how the judges scored it, and it was very close. Like it was a split decision.
It was majority. It was majority, but
one of the decisions tied. One of the judges had a tie fight.
Yeah, he has a tie
so
fight.
It's like it's a majority decision, but it wasn't.
Had McGregor by like 1 point.
Yeah,
it's close.
So. You know what it is as well? I honestly, it was a fight that was so close. I think it was depending on who you thought was going to win going in. Mm-hmm. You could make a case for either guy. But McGregor was clearly better than he was in the first fight, and that shouldn't influence the results of the second fight.
No,
even though it might have.
I definitely did.
Yeah,
I think
it's hard to human error.
Yeah,
human
it's going to
skew
your thought and what you are looking for.
I definitely think that influenced the fight in terms of McGregor was stronger and more able to withstand what Diaz was throwing out this time, and there were, I think, like we said, there were times where Diaz was close to, submitting McGregor or knocking him out all the way.
Right.
And that comes down to scoring in terms of how UFC works. Is it how many punches you land? Is it how with it you are? Is it how much blood is shed?
And I think UFC has always made it a point to be a little bit different than boxing in that it's all of those things.
Yes.
It's how many punches do you land? How many kicks? How many takedown attempts? How many successful takedowns? Are you going forward? Are you backing up? Are you controlling the action?
Right.
If you get taken down, how quickly can you get out? It's really a combination of all facets of UFC, and that makes it almost impossible to judge it consistently.
Right.
Because depending on what you value. That if you get past, though, and I think you'll agree with this, if you get past the outcome, it's the best UFC fight I've ever seen.
No,
and a lot of people really
out of all 5 fights I've ever watched, it's definitely the best.
Same. Colin Cowherd, he said it's the best fight that he's seen in 20 years. Cowherd. Did I say Cowhead?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dad.
Cowhead.
Cowherd said it's like the best fight he's seen in 20 years. It's amazing. It's an amazing fight.
If I get into UFC ever, that's going to be my nickname, Cowhead.
Cowhead. It should be last night's curry.
No, that's terrible.
Or Dal Belly.
Dal Belly?
Dal
or
Belly.
Uncle Jimmy.
Uncle Jimmy.
Uncle Jimmy.
Or hey, give me the thing.
The ting.
The ting.
There you go.
Give me the ting.
The ting, not like the thing from Fantastic Four, but the ting.
The ting.
Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking off what you guys have said, I think the fight, was close enough where they had to go with McGregor because I think Krishna, I think we were talking right before the fight started. If McGregor lost this fight, that's it.
It does a couple of thing. It destroys their number one main draw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Money for making money.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. Number two, I mean, I don't know. They'd almost be forced to make Nate Diaz into something that he's not.
Right. Like, Nate Diaz has never been a great UFC
He's not. I mean, the way that he promotes himself is that he swears, he throws up the middle finger. Actually, that was my favorite moment of the fight when McGregor, I think, landed like a little combination on his chin, and literally he's got blood all over his face, and he just flips the bird to McGregor. Actually, my favorite part of the fight was that they hugged afterward. It's been like, I feel like it feels like 3 years of nonstop trash talking between these two, and bad blood and like horrible insults and accusations and all kinds of things. At the end of 25
anyway, though.
Yeah, so yes and no. UFC, mixed martial arts, and boxing to some extent, more so maybe than any other sport, you can legit hate a guy. You really can. Because guess what? You have to get in the ring and you have to go to war with them, right?
Sure.
It really is life, where like you're trying to punch the crap out of someone and then inflict as much pain on another human being as possible. That's your job. That's what you get paid for.
Yeah.
But I think UFC is truly one of those sports, mixed martial arts, combat sports, where you can hate a guy. You can. But after going through a 25-minute war like that, you can still have bad feelings for him, but you will respect that other man.
And McGregor mostly said that. He said,
yes.
I think he really, and I've never really heard McGregor say this about any of his opponents before, even when Diaz beat him the first time.
It's always the pre-fight where he's a little disrespectful.
Yeah, but even post-fight,
he seems pretty okay.
He seems okay, but this is the most respect. He said he had the biggest amount of respect.
It's the hardest fight he's ever had.
Right. It totally is.
Yeah.
And this could. And even with the result, like Ravi said, being disappointing, I kind of felt like watching the fight live, Diaz won as well.
So much fun.
But it was fun, and I'm excited for a third fight. However, there could be a holdup.
Yeah. So
why could there be a holdup?
So what Krishna was telling me was Dana White is very not for the idea right now.
Who's Dana White?
Dana White is the promoter, the master promoter for the UFC. So he basically is like the spokesman almost. He announces the fights.
I thought it was that guy Joe.
Joe Wright?
Yeah. Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
No, Joe Rogan is just an analyst, color commentator. He does all the interviews.
They look similar.
Yeah, actually, they're both bald.
Oh,
Okay. Both baldhood. Woo! Anyways, no, Dana White has said there is no. He's done with the Diaz McGregor bouts.
Right now or forever?
So I'm not entirely sure. It can't be forever because the UFC would be costing themselves another $10 million payday. Like, it makes no sense. The reason that he's probably trying to get the public off of it, though, is that McGregor really needs to either vacate the featherweight title, which is the featherweight is the 145-pound division,
right?
And he hasn't fought there in 2 fights.
So
you've got contenders at 145 who want that title.
So he needs to get back in it.
So he needs to either vacate it, but he said he doesn't want to vacate, so he needs to get back down to 145 and fight. Now think about that. He just fought at 170, and now he has to get down to 145. That's a dangerous weight cut. I think his coach said before the first Diaz fight, McGregor will never fight at 145 again because those weight cuts are dangerous.
Right, but
we've had 2 deaths, I think, in the last couple of years from weight cuts.
Right, but McGregor wants to fight Diaz for that third round. I think Diaz has agreed to
and
this.
Diaz said he will fight nobody else unless it's McGregor for
at 155
round 3.
So they'll both be dropping 15 pounds.
So this is the catch weight, right? So if McGregor has fought most of his career at 145, and I think Nate Diaz has bounced from 155 to 170. They fought their 2 fights have been at 170.
Right.
So McGregor.
So this third one would be in McGregor's field.
155.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be as close, to be honest.
Interesting.
To be honest, the advantage would probably go to McGregor clearly at 155. Yeah. He dominates smaller guys, but not that Nate Diaz is a bigger guy. The thing is, though, Nate Diaz has experience at 155, and he does triathlons for fun.
Right.
Like maybe we're totally underestimating that guy. His cardio.
Well, we underestimated him for 198, so who knows?
He's a beast.
And then also, I think Diaz likes these fights. Because think about it, Diaz is not, has never ever been in the face of UFC ever in his life, and the guy got a $2 million payout for this fight.
Yeah.
Wait, McGregor got like a $20 million payout.
No, $3 million. $3 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's the bigger draw. He's gonna get the more money.
But the fact that Diaz is getting $2 million is now basically the second highest paid UFC fighter behind McGregor. There's absolutely you want to fight at 155? Sure, because I'm gonna get at least that for round 3, if not more.
Nate Diaz is, though, a warrior. Like
I agree.
Like money. Trust me,
money's
he likes money.
Money's
but he's come out and said, and I believe him. I'm not fighting again until I get McGregor. He's like, UFC, you can. He doesn't have a belt that he has to defend. He can literally sit there and be like, I'm not fighting again until you give me McGregor for the third fight.
All right, so let's finish this off real quick. Let's go around and just do guesses on when we see
and they
McGregor.
really are just guesses,
right? I mean, it's
shot
purely
in the dark.
When we see McGregor, Diaz again, and will McGregor or Diaz fight somebody else before that fight?
Yeah,
we'll start with who wants to go first.
I'll go first.
What do you think?
I think he's going to sit down and think about it, but McGregor's going to vacate that 145. It's
sorry, when you say vacate, just give up the title?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
because it's either that or try and make that weight cut.
You got to cut 25
and then
pounds.
he has to cut all that weight.
But he's got to put up. Then he's got to put up 10 more again to fight Diaz.
Yeah,
and then,
so that's incredible. It's not like his body fat; it's all muscle, right?
I mean, it's
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's bulked up and he's stayed lean. So
wow.
Yeah. So I think he's going to think about it and he's going to hate to do it.
Yeah.
But he's going to vacate that 145, and I think he's going to force the UFC, him and Diaz together. They're kind of kindred spirits in this way. They're really the first fighters to stand up for like fighter rights and what they're worth.
That's awesome.
And so actually, a lot of people saw the hug at the end of the fight as like respect between two fellow warriors, not just in the ring, but also fighting the employer as well. The business, and trying to get equal rights for.
Do you guys want to start like a UFC fighters union?
So they just started one. Damn. They just started one. It's been a long time coming. But so I think he's gonna hate to do it, but he's gonna vacate that 145, and I think the next fight they're gonna force Dana White's hand. I know he might not want it, but.
Yeah, but
the public and the paying public should
right, exactly. They're gonna get what they want. But
yeah.
So I guess the question is, when do you think it's gonna happen?
So McGregor did get injured, so he has to get cleared by a doctor for his leg.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's at least 6 months. So I'm gonna say probably next March. Next March. Between next February and next April, I think that's when the fight would be.
You want to go?
Yeah, I'm going to say about a year. I'm going to say probably early next summer, May, June. Drag it out a little bit, let the drama build. This has the potential to be like one of the best trilogy of UFC fights, or up there at least. So I say let it build, let it simmer a little bit. I'm sure there'll be more twists and turns. I mean, the first twist was they were supposed to fight again in 200. Then Dana White said, "No, you're not fighting because you missed out the sponsorship or whatever." And I'm sure there's going to be more twists and turns here, with the Dana White thing and the featherweight stuff. So I say about a year, about 10 months.
Do you think they're going to fight before that?
No, I don't think either fights.
Really?
Yeah, I think
wow.
So basically, a long time
for
training and recuperating.
I think McGregor's injury is going to keep him out a while. Excuse me. I believe Diaz when he says he's not going to fight anyone.
Oh yeah, I believe him too. Yeah.
So I just think it drags on, and then they kind of stare Dana White in the face. Then he's like, "Okay, I'm being stupid," and figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna make an uneducated guess here. I'm gonna go with the holidays of this year. So
like December,
Thanksgiving, or right around New Year's or Christmas.
That would be a great time
just because.
Don't they do?
Oh my god!
Doesn't UFC do a fight right around New Year's?
They
or
do.
New Year's Day?
They do a fight around just before Thanksgiving, and then right around New Year's as well.
Smart.
Just because you have people at home, family gathered. So hey, let's throw in the big
fight. Order the fight. Everyone throws in.
I mean, let's think about it this way. What sports owns Thanksgiving right now?
Football.
It's
okay.
Always football.
And do you? Or I guess the question is, do you think the UFC could contend a pay-per-view event around the holidays?
The only one that could do it, Nate Diaz and McGregor 3. That's the only one that would attempt to do it.
I think that would be very cool and interesting.
Thanksgiving Day games are?
There's always 3
Green
games.
Bay, Detroit.
There are always a few teams that play. So Detroit always plays. I think Dallas always plays.
Okay.
But I mean,
huge draws
so they've done 3 games for the past few years, but honestly, there's always like one or two of them are never really that good.
Yeah,
I know the biggest.
Sometimes they all suck.
I know the biggest thing that happened in this last Thanksgiving one was Tony Romo got knocked out. Like for the rest of the season, he broke his collarbone again, and that was literally literally the biggest thing that. The Hail Mary didn't happen.
Thanksgiving.
The Detroit Packers. I don't think that was the Thanksgiving game.
To be honest, I would love for the UFC to put on a fight to put the NFL in its place a little bit. They're getting a little bit too big for their boots.
The NFL?
Yeah, I mean, so they're right. they can dictate whatever they want. But I would like to see a little competition so they can.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, because I feel like because they make so much money, the NFL as an ownership group has all the power.
I mean, there's something else. I think there's an opening there because you do have football then, and then hockey and basketball seasons are so young that no one's really truly invested in those yet.
Those don't get until Christmas time, which is why the NBA owns Christmas.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
So I think if UFC kind of came in with a big fight like that,
oh my god,
it would be cool.
Just
or like a Ronda Rousey or
well,
something
not
like
that,
that.
But I mean, let's say they actually pull it off. Then, like you said, that's a groundbreaking. That's gonna be a huge change to the UFC. Because then what that's going to end up showing and being is they're going to try and figure out, okay, it's January. We need to figure out who our two big contenders are going to be. We need to start building it up come January. Right. Who's it going to be?
Yeah.
And it's going to change their entire format. And I think, possibly it'll change it for the better maybe.
Yeah, I mean, everything has phases. And really the NFL does own Thanksgiving because you have to even think TV, cable TV doesn't release new episodes during Thanksgiving or holiday season.
It's all football.
So it's all sport. It's all football. Yeah. So that's certainly. If I was Dana White in the UFC, I would go for it. I just what.
I'm not.
And all I'm asking for is a 5% cut of my amazing idea. That's all I want. 5%.
That's cut. All he needs is 5%.
5%.
We'd be all set for a while.
Hey, speaking of, I was just
gonna say. I will say real quick. If it came down to the Thanksgiving Day games this NFL, for the NFL season, and a Nate Diaz McGregor 3, I would drop coin to watch that fight.
Yeah, Patriots aren't playing, so.
Exactly. The Patriots aren't playing. Boom, key. And if the Patriots were playing, hopefully it would be during at like 1 o'clock or 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. So I can do both. So
that's the thing.
That's my opinion.
All they
I'm sticking to it.
All they would have to compete with was the night NFL game, and that game's always the weakest of the three. I feel like. Yeah. First off, because they only added the night game recently, and then you have to think about it. It starts at 8 East Coast, 5 o'clock here. Most people are, with the traditional Thanksgiving family gatherings, headed home, passed out, watching a movie, kind of moved away from football. So
just sleepy.
Who knows?
It'll add some excitement to the Thanksgiving
slate.
Festivities.
Seriously, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be super fun.
Hey, bars would love it.
That was my idea.
Wait, open a bar?
Well, no. I mean, you could go to the bar and watch a fight. And
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of bars,
switching gears a little bit, huh? Oh yeah. Speaking of bars,
speaking of going to the bar and having a good time and forgetting that good time, Ryan Lochte. We actually talked about Ryan Lochte last week, and we were like, "Wow, that guy! He had a gun pointed to his head." And we totally fell for it. We totally fell for the Ryan.
Yeah. So for somebody that has not paid any attention to this story, because
you want to give us a recap?
I'll be quite honest, I don't care.
Yeah.
From what I understand, what he lied about being robbed or something.
Okay, so originally what happened last week? Ryan Lochte and 3 or 4 other U.S. Olympic swimmers claimed that they were robbed at gunpoint in a taxi in Brazil.
Gotcha.
And it was
had their stuff stolen. And Lochte kind of painted this picture that he had a gun put right to the temple of his head.
Okay.
To give up his wallet and stuff.
And the story was framed as sort of this is the problem with the Rio Olympics.
Yes.
So security is a problem. So that's how we framed it last week. We're like, so this is just another episode in.
And you could easily buy it. You could easily buy it.
Sure. So that's. I think Krishna, you just pointed on something.
Yes.
Quite precise there. The story was painted.
That's how it was painted.
Who did the painting, though? Did Ryan or
was
it the media?
Well, it's both.
So Ryan Lochte is considered stupid. Because clearly he lied about this, but Lochte obviously has to have some type of intelligence where he knew he could kind of paint this story
and almost try and get away with it.
And he literally did because he knows how the media works and they just run with it. He knew that Brazil isn't the best of.
So what was the gains of him lying and making up this fake story?
Because
what did he gain?
Because of what actually happened.
What actually happened.
Sure.
According to different reports, and I don't want to fall into this situation again.
I know, right?
Maybe this is a
Next
lie
week,
too.
Correction.
This is according to
aliens
reports like the LA Times, Time, BBC, CNN, all those types of outlets. So
the new media outlets.
The media outlets reporting that what actually happened was Lochte and his fellow Olympians got really drunk.
Mm-hmm.
went out to a gas station, vandalized a sign, tried to get into the gas station, yelled expletives, and then peed on the sign of the
public urination.
Public urination.
Which, by the way, in the U.S. labels you as a sex offender.
And then also filed a false police report.
Yeah. What? Like, are you serious? Like, what? Yeah. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
That's all you can say.
It's bad.
But
it's
Arjuna,
really bad.
Arjuna, please, if you can, run through the list of repercussions. So, you want to know why Lochte would lie? Well, here's why. Like, how many people have dropped?
Here's why you would lie.
I know Ralph Lauren has dropped.
Sure. Ryan Lochte. It's a lot of money.
I think Nike or whatever his the sports brand that has dropped him. I know there are talks of him being banned for life from the U.S. Olympic team.
That's why you would lie.
I feel like the last one banned from the U.S. Olympic team. I feel like that's common sense. You would automatically.
No, I think him and all of the other guys have.
But no, he's gonna fight like hell to try and frame himself as this like
innocent person,
lovable stupid person,
gotcha.
Like who got really drunk, and that's how he's gonna try and frame it. I think, and that's how he's already trying. I think the latest thing that he said was that I was highly intoxicated.
That's not
an excuse.
No. I think. On Facebook,
here.
I mean, that's what I've been seeing a lot of. Is like people are comparing him to like people are basically comparing like, because I mean, and then there's like all this white privilege stuff that's been thrown out there.
Absolutely.
Like a ton of it has been thrown out. So
I think it's just U.S. privilege, to be honest. Like, can you imagine if I think the same thing would happen.
It's a loaded situation.
Yeah, of course.
Can you imagine?
You can hit it from every angle.
Well, think about it. Think if the Olympics are in the U.S. and a Brazilian
did all that, they would
be a laughing stock. Yeah, there would be a laughing stock.
And all this other type of
It'd
stuff.
almost be a funny story.
I think
this is a funny story, but yeah.
He's already dyed his hair back to being black. He had blonde tips before.
So he's going to look good for the judge. I think,
how old is this guy?
Have said.
He's like what?
30?
20s?
Is he late 20s, early 30s?
Please stop. Are you being serious?
Yeah,
you thought he was younger?
I thought like with this level of stupidity, I would say maybe 18, 19 or something.
And I think you have to
30.
Yeah, I think you have to compare the Lochte situation.
He's 32.
Wow.
From Rochester,
Ryan
New York.
Lochte is older than me, and he is clearly more unintelligent.
Yes.
That makes me feel good. My ego just got boosted today.
Yeah.
But I think like we've done before in the past, right? We've talked about athletes and, being an athlete is a job, right? And going to the Olympics, it's obviously fun and an honor and whatnot.
It's a huge honor.
But at the end of the day, it's still a job. None of us can, for work, go somewhere, get drunk, and go publicly urinate on a gas station, and there'd be no repercussions. Most jobs would fire you immediately.
And then you would never be able to get a job again.
It would be very hard to get. You would have no. So and unfortunately, not unfortunately, the repercussions should be the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Ban them.
In fact, and with the way sports are, and also representing the country, they should be quote unquote higher.
I just actually thought of a counter argument.
Okay, go for it.
I'm gonna love this.
Yeah. So Phelps getting caught with cannabis. So like you just said, a lot of companies, if their employees,
about it.
If a lot of back a couple of years ago when it happened, cannabis was probably less accepted than it is now.
Oh, absolutely.
Very.
So that is the counter argument. So obviously, you know how I stand with that whole cannabis thing in general, but to just provide another angle, I guess.
Yeah.
Your greatest U.S. Olympian ever. You're gonna ban him because here's
the difference, right? So Ryan Lochte is more comparable to us than Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps would be like if Walt Disney.
Is that right though?
Or like no, it's not right.
Right.
But then that would how it would work for like any type of
job,
like employment or job, right? Like we're quote unquote okay. Lochte may be a bit higher. He's won Olympic golds, right? He's a good employee, but like the Michael Phelps would be like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not morally right, those type of people can still get.
Actually, fun story, real quick. Bill Gates, when he was younger and first kind of starting out, he actually he got really drunk, right? and he broke into some kind of construction yard or something and took a bulldozer and went like on a joyride with it.
Wait, Bill Gates?
Bill Gates. They threw him in jail for a couple nights.
I mean,
that probably
helped. He probably liked it.
So Bill Gates, to a degree, he's gone through the same level of
stupidity,
law enforcement,
I mean,
so
everyone
forth.
has.
But quick question, I want to clarify real quick. Arjuna was speaking in the world as it is, not an ideal world.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
in an ideal world.
You want to make that
Yes,
that
yes,
distinction.
yes.
He's not saying that's how it should be. He's saying that's how it is. If the higher up you move in a company, generally speaking, the more protection generally speaking. Not
especially
always.
if you're
Sometimes
you're
the fall guy.
If you're the face of a company or whatnot, and Michael Phelps is the face of U.S. Olympics, you know?
Yes.
Until 4 years when Katie Ledecky will be the face of
she should have been this Olympics.
Agreed.
But, whatever.
We won't. But I honestly don't think there's much more to say on Lochte. I think this should be the last we probably ever hear of him.
I heard he's going to audition for NSYNC though. I did hear this.
Oh,
Shut up.
No,
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Just based on the
well, actually, knowing how Dancing with the Stars work, he'll probably be on the next season of Dancing with the Stars.
I say we boycott it.
I don't watch that show.
I watched one season.
What?
It was the season with
you watched.
It was the season with Mom.
It was the season with it was the season with
Mom.
Emmitt Smith. No, Mom, Dad, and I watched it. I enjoyed it. It was a fun show to watch.
All right, well,
let's move on to let's move something on.
Let's how we'll frame it.
Let's just move something. Let's just move on.
So Dancing with the Stars, season 47.
Okay, so the next segment is the Patriots. Woo!
The theme sounds a little off.
So the Patriots.
So everyone get hyped. They're 2-0, so they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Well, just a forewarning. The 2008 Detroit Lions went 4-0 in the preseason.
Nope.
And then they proceeded to have the first winless season in football history by going 0-16.
The Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl based on this start.
But let's recap it. We're halfway through the preseason. With the Patriots and with football preseason in general, which is probably happy to a lot. A lot of fans are happy about that. It means we're closer to real regular season football. And
it can't come fast enough.
I like preseason.
I know you do,
but I think there's some interesting things to kind of point out with the Patriots, and the number one thing would be.
I wish we could swing it.
So for all you viewers, obviously you can't see, or if you're listening, listen. But Oz the cat has climbed into a paper bag and is enjoying himself.
He loves bags, and he's just in there like it's an island or it's this boat. It's like a boat.
Somebody should Instagram that. You guys can check our Instagram, LuZo Productions, to see Oz.
It's like a Chinese food bag.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I don't know how to describe that bag except Chinese food. That's the kind of bag you get Chinese food in. There you go.
So here's what's interesting. I think the most interesting part is we actually have yet to see Tom Brady in preseason action.
People are freaking out, by the way.
Wait, can I bring up the story? I know the story very well.
No, there's more stories, but go ahead.
Yeah. So from what I heard, there's a rumor, and I believe it's true. The evil person that we will name nameless. He's nameless. Somehow was able to cut beautiful Tom Brady's hand and prevent him from playing in the preseason. That's what I've heard.
Well, it's more than that. So
there's a meme running around.
Belichick decided not to play him the first game. Brady,
because he who should not be named cut him.
No, so week 1, so August 11th, the game against the Saints, Brady had to go to like a memorial service. He was excused for the game. Week 2, this last week, August 18th, he was supposed to start the game. In fact, even in the pregame show on 98.5 The Sports Hub, which does the radio broadcast, where they do the pregame interview with Belichick, this is like 30, 45 minutes before kickoff. He's like, yeah, Tom Brady's going to start the game and play a couple series.
Wow.
Yeah. And then literally the players come out for warm-ups. There's no Tom Brady. And people are like, what's happening? Then people see Tom Brady in the tunnel in street clothes just walking to the parking lot. And people are like, Did Belichick just straight up lie? And then the story comes out in the beginning of the game that Tom Brady was geared up in his jersey, ready to go, had something on his cleats, and used a pair of scissors to try and pry whatever was on his cleats out and slice his thumb. And then Belichick decided, you know what, no point in you playing, so go home. Brady went home. And then also, we are filming right now on the Monday, August 21st. And Brady was not at practice today. He is an excused absence for of personal nature. Belichick, as always, declined to comment on it.
Yeah, we all know what it was. He was afraid of he who should not be named coming to cut him again.
But people are. I think Krishna, like Krishna just said, people kind of are freaking out about this because we will not be seeing Tom Brady for a full month once the regular season rolls around. He cannot.
He's not getting any reps.
He cannot play. He cannot play in the games. He cannot be around the team. He can't even talk to his teammates. He can't even send a text if he wants to send a "Hey, what's up?" text to Rob Gronkowski.
There's so many jokes.
Can't do that.
So many jokes that you can just make right there.
So what I'm hearing is Tom Brady has basically two options in terms of interacting with the outside world: Ben Affleck or us.
Well, with his team, he can interact with the outside world. He just cannot interact with his team.
Ben Affleck or us.
Well, I would like that. Ben Affleck arrives on the
great.
field to send coded messages to the coaching staff from Tom Brady. Ben Affleck would mess that up.
So classy.
Wait, yeah, he would mess that up.
Do you think though? Maybe. Because like Tom probably wants to know how his team's doing. Do you think he'd send like Ben Affleck in his Batman suit? Like, could you imagine like Batman like overlooking the training grounds and like spying on them, kind of like Batman does?
If I had to imagine how it will work, it would be the Patriots. So Brady will obviously will watch all the games. You guys were
wait, because Batman is recording them for him from the Batwing.
Wait, actually, yeah, I'm confused. Does he get to watch NFL Network, or does that
No, he can watch the games.
The NFL Network is cancel his subscript.
He can't watch the NFL games.
Oh
he
my!
Can't do it. Not from his home.
I don't think it's that extreme, but he can't have.
Would you put it past him?
But Brady can't have any contact with team officials, so that means a team employee couldn't come to his house and drop off the game film.
What about league officials?
I don't think they could do that. But what Brady?
What if his best friend, one of the referees, comes by?
But what they could do, I know, if you subscribe to like the NFL Game Pass or whatever, you can actually get access to the all 22 film through that way. So the Patriots probably hook him up with a subscription of that, so we can watch that.
Whoa! Maybe keep that on the DL.
Are you trying to get him
that?
People, what if they What
if the NFL actually watches this, realizes that, and then you just stop. So then Batman's
is option 2.
Wait, guys, I just got a tweet. Breaking news: Tom Brady to co-star in the solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck.
Co-star as Robin?
As Robin.
Oh God! Oh my God! I will say this:
the first cinematic Robin that's taller than Batman.
I will say this. I actually think Patriot fans are probably the calmest of everyone who's freaking out about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of people
the outside
national
media, right?
Saying
that's what the impression I'm getting.
Brady needs reps and whatnot, and I agree.
No, he doesn't need reps. He is God.
He does need some reps, and I hope the preseason game this Friday against the Carolina Panthers.
He'll get some.
He gets some reps, but I it's not the do all end all. He's missed full preseasons before and been fine.
I'm more worried about the other people not getting reps. Not Gronkowski, but so Dion Lewis. Am I skipping ahead?
No, we can actually get to that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Juna.
This is good. So actually, the Patriots were hit with some bad injury news this past day. So
this is going to be more important than Brady not getting reps.
So people were concerned that, especially fantasy owners in NFL fantasy, that Dion Lewis had yet to practice in training camp. He was seen at the end of spring practices, so people just assumed he'd be there. Some people speculated. Mike Reese had a really good piece on ESPN Boston that maybe Belichick's holding Lewis back and we'll keep him on the PUP. It'd have him kind of come back
like a mid-season weapon.
Yeah, a mid-season weapon. And then you can keep another player on the roster. But the Patriots and Belichick are really great at doing that. But then the Ben Volen of the Boston Globe stated, I think Saturday or Sunday this weekend, that so there is a reason Dion Lewis is out, and he needed a cleanup surgery on his knee. And according to Jeff Howe of the Boston Herald, he will miss 8 to 10 weeks from now.
Ouch.
So you have another 3 weeks of 2.5, 3 weeks of preseason, and then that's like 6 to 8 games, regular season weeks. So they'll probably keep him on the PUP.
Yeah, sounds like he can still be a PUP.
Yeah, and then once those weeks expire, you have another 3-week buffer to they can practice, and you can activate them on the roster or revert them to IR. That makes the most sense. There's hope that Lewis will come back basically really for a December postseason push if you make it.
Which actually be ideal if you think about it. Like,
it's not bad.
Yeah, you get him some game reps, right? And then he blows up in the postseason.
It'd be perfect.
It'd be the opposite, the exact opposite of last year.
Yes.
Yeah, which would be I'd be okay with it.
And then you've had some other problems. It looks like Sebastian Vollmer has a hip injury and will be going on IR. Now you don't have to you have the rule of the IR return.
Yeah.
So a player about 8 weeks in can return from IR.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They added that a few years ago, and this year they've changed it where you don't have to designate that player.
Okay.
It could just be any player you have on IR, and then you can use it on one IR player.
I see.
So maybe Vollmer falls into that category. I don't know how severe the hip injury is. I mean, he's had a lot of injury concerns these last few years. Some speculation.
Vollmer's what, the 6'8" guy?
Yeah, the 6'8" Russian.
Right?
He's one of the older players on the roster now. Drafted in the second round.
Dude.
Second round of 2009.
Hips would not be
is in his
fun.
Is in his 30s now for an offensive lineman. He's probably nearing retirement anyway. Shaq Mason apparently has a broken hand. He could also be an IR candidate. So they have some injury concerns. And then you've had a bunch of players that haven't practiced yet. Dan Amendola, Donald Brown, the running back they signed.
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman's practiced.
Oh, he has practiced?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's been practicing, but there's no... I mean, he's coming from the broken foot. There's no need. Gronkowski hasn't practiced since pulling his...
in like 10 years, he hasn't practiced, so
but
he's fine.
He hasn't appeared in a preseason since, I think, 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
So, and he's been fine every year. He's been healthy. I mean, whenever he's playing, he's fine.
Right.
So you might as well just save him for that. But,
yeah.
So I mean those are some concerns, along with that kind of affects your offensive line depth. They have a lot of rookies and second year players kind of coming back. Well, Trey Jackson, actually the second year guard, hasn't yet to practice either. But you have the two rookies, Joe Tooney and Ted Karras. I'm not sure exactly how to say his name. It's the 6th round pick. But I know Tooney has been right in playing guard with the ones since the beginning of spring camp. Hasn't let it go. It looked really good.
He's looked good.
They
need it.
Especially on
they
one-on-ones. Yeah, they say he looks like one of the best offensive linemen in one-on-ones.
Yeah, they're going to need
And then I think with Marcus Cannon has looked good at right tackle, especially with the return of Dante Scarnecchia.
Yep.
So that's good. I don't think there's too many concerns on the offensive line. It looks like David Andrews has kind of taken over the center battle between him and Brian Stork.
Yeah. So it's
really right guard, I think, that's kind of up in the air right now.
So like some people have said there's a little bit of concerns because of the pressure that's been getting to Garoppolo. Through the first two games, but especially the first one game.
But
so you think they're a little overblown? You would say?
And the pocket looked really good in the second game. Actually, he had the one sack that was called back because of a defensive holding. He had a clean pocket though, mostly throughout the rest though. So not too. I think the offensive line will be okay. They don't want to do the rotation this year. They said they want to set lineup.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Scarnecchia. That was never really Scarnecchia's thing.
That was more of a
kind of a need thing.
It was kind of a need, and then it was DeGuglielmo, who came in as the offensive line coach for the last 2 years, was kind of his thing.
Yeah.
So real quick, some guys that have looked good, a lot of young guys. The first guy that jumps out to me, the tight end, AJ Derby. He was the tight end they drafted last year, went on IR. But the guys looked explosive. He looks
his
like
hands are ridiculous.
He's made some really tough catches. He had a really nice touchdown catch.
I can't see how they can let him not like they can.
He has to make the.
They have to give him a spot.
Yeah, if he doesn't make the roster, he's not.
Someone's going to pick him up.
He won't make it to the practice
squad. It'll probably
squad.
be the Bills. But yeah,
I think that's a great guy to have.
Yeah.
And like if you could run a 3 tight end set with Gronk, Bennett, and Derby.
Just do it.
Especially with Garoppolo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can run out of that and you can pass out of it. I know Derby's not the best blocker, but Bennett and Gronk are both
phenomenal.
Well, Gronk's probably the best blocking tight end in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Bennett's not a slouch. Right. So you can legitimately run out of that package. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that he's not been a bad guy. Another guy I'm really excited about, defensive end Trey Flowers.
Yeah,
especially
he's a good.
With Ninkovich tearing his pectoral, with Jabal Sheard not playing recently.
Oh, how come Jabal's not been playing?
He pulled something in the first preseason game, really precautionary.
Oh, okay.
I think he'll be fine. And then Shea McClellan, the guy that picked up from the Chicago Bears, also not playing. Flowers got his opportunity, and he's looked like their best pass rusher.
Awesome.
On the field.
You can't have too many of those.
No.
You never can.
As the Giants have proven.
The Giants.
2 Super Bowl, the Patriots' 2 Super Bowl losses in recent history. Yeah, the more the merrier.
How about that second round pick there? Mr. Cyrus Jones.
Cyrus Jones has looked good. He had a pick
in
this last game. I know the punt returning hasn't really showed up yet.
Yeah.
But he had the skill set in college. I'm sure it will show up at some point. But he looks like a guy that could see some time on defense.
Yeah.
I think the corner depth to me is probably one of the biggest areas of concerns for the Patriots because
I feel like every single year.
Right.
It really is.
Really,
it's so hard. It's so hard to get corner depth. Really, because you know what, like. You're lucky if your teams are lucky if they have a number one guy, right? So how many number one guys are in the league? 10, if that. So
5.
5? Okay,
really
so
5.
you have 5 number one corners.
Maybe.
You have 32 teams.
It's really year to year.
Yeah, is that right? And it's such a that position fluctuates so much.
A lot.
So yeah, like cornerback depth, no team has good cornerback depth. It's almost impossible.
The best time the Patriots had cornerback depth was their last Super Bowl in 2014. They had Revis and Browner as the starters.
Yeah,
you had
Butler
was the sixth
Butler, right? He
cornerback.
wasn't even.
You had Kyle Arrington. You had Alfonso Denard. I know Denard didn't play a lot in 14.
Yeah. And Logan Ryan was still there too.
Logan
right?
Ryan and Butler at the end of the depth chart.
So what? Logan Ryan was your 5th guy?
Yeah, Logan Ryan was like your.
He's a talented guy. He's our number 2 right now, right?
He kind of elevated to the 4th because Denard was on IR by October, November.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And then Logan Ryan kind of got benched for Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl.
You're right. That is probably the best Super Bowl, the best cornerback depth we've had since, I would say.
The Ty Law years.
Ty Law.
Sante Samuel.
Gay, Tyrone Poole. Remember Tyrone Poole?
Yeah.
Oh, he was so good in Madden. Oh, so
He was so good.
Yeah, I think Ty Law was at 89 and Tyrone Poole was at 84 maybe. Oh, so great.
Oh, actually, Madden's releasing tomorrow, Tuesday.
Wait, it is?
Yeah.
Oh. How are the reviews on that game?
I haven't looked at them yet because I don't care.
You know what? You heard it here first. It's probably going to suck.
Well, Gronk's on the cover.
Yeah, but that Gronk can't save.
Couple other
Madden.
players. A guy that flashed to me on last Thursday's game, defensive tackle Anthony Johnson. He showed up with some really nice pass rushing moves, and he's also very different from all the other D tackles they have. He's the only kind of small, quick guy they have in the mold of what they had with Dominique Easley, Chris Jones, all the guys they kind of cut this offseason.
Oh, interesting.
So he brings something different than because he's around 260, I think, while everyone else is a 300-plus pound type of guy. So he's a guy that can line up at D tackle, D end, and more of like a quick guy that you could put in on 3rd and long situations, pass rushing situations.
But probably never in a run situation. He would get destroyed, I feel.
No, he's a good situational guy to have.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like guys probably do best when they have a specific role like that, right?
Right.
Actually, that can only help your team. The only I mean, obviously injuries would mess with anything, but yeah, interesting. Cool. So a sub-package guy.
Yeah. Cool. And, the Patriots love their packages and whatnot.
Yes, they do.
All right. Let's move on quickly to the Boston Red Sox. We haven't talked about them in a few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's been...
And they've honestly... They've been doing well. They've been on this 11-game road trip, and they've had a few... I mean, they had the blunder on, I think it was Saturday, where Eduardo couldn't go, and they were kind of put into a pickle where they had to start Henry Owens, and he...
he pitched 5 runs in 2 innings
or
something?
So he pitched well for like 2 1/3, and then he just ran into a couple bad bounces, and it's 5-0 really quickly, and they actually made it competitive. They only lost 10-5.
Oh, we did.
But then they gave up more runs later, and they Farrell tried Tezawa.
I love your optimism. It's amazing. They only lost 10-5.
Well, I know you're gonna be negative, so I'm trying to bring the optimism.
I'm just it's like in baseball, right? Where the average margin of victory is like 2, maybe 3 runs, and like they only lost 10-5. Like that's such beautiful optimism.
It's good.
I wish more people felt like that.
Boston fans certainly don't feel like that.
No.
So
no, never.
So I mean, the 11-game road trip has been going well, and to me, it's been really fronted by Mookie Betts, or as you like to say, Cookie Betts.
Cookie Betts bakes up. He's always in the oven baking.
The way this guy is playing right now,
MVP candidate,
is ridiculous. Yeah. He's an MVP candidate and an MVP favorite, maybe.
So he's doing so well. They moved him to cleanup behind Ortiz.
And he's hitting even better.
So think about this, right? They have Ortiz hitting 3rd, right? And Ortiz is having one of the best year. He's having the best year by any 40-plus play, and he's having one of the best years in his own highly established career, and they moved Cookie Betts to number 4, all 5'8", like 165 pounds of him, because he is doing that well.
This is a guy that just hits like 8 home runs in like, in a 3, 4, 5 game stretch. He became the second Red Sox player to have 2 multiple 3 home run games in the same season since Ted Williams. I think they had a list of every player who's had multiple 3 home run season games, and I think all of them are in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it looks good.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, he's only 23 years old.
Yeah.
What have you done with your life?
I'm sorry. And this is a team that's loaded with offensive talent. This is Pedroia, Dustin Pedroia having a season slightly below his MVP caliber year in 2008, right? And is healthy for pretty much the first time since then, and 13, I guess. Then you have Xander Bogaerts having a great year. JBJ having a great year.
All career years.
All tiers. Right now, yeah. Ortiz having a great year. Hanley Ramirez having probably what you expected when he came to this team, hitting around 270, 280.
Some power.
He's got some
playing
power.
Good first base defense. Amazing.
More than passable.
More than passable. Yeah, I would say like
which is what you
above
wanted.
average.
You just wanted passable, and he's blown that away in my mind.
Yes.
Or in my opinion.
We wanted him to not implode.
Yeah.
And he hasn't.
And there's no problems. And then you have like a guy like Sandy Leon, who's still somehow batting around like 380.
Yeah. He also, I didn't realize how good his arm was, by the way. I think he's thrown out 3 guys trying to steal in the last 2 games or something.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a great arm. I was like, I had no idea he was that good.
And this is great for a team where Christian Vasquez hasn't worked out this year.
Yeah.
Blake Swihart didn't work out this year.
I still have high hopes for Christian Vasquez.
Me too.
He's got great swagger, and I don't know. There's something about the way he plays defensively, the catcher position, which is really cool. Yeah. He commands it like nobody else.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the 2017 Red Sox do with the catcher situation.
Yeah.
I think Leon has to be back and the incumbent at this point.
Yes.
As the starter. Now, I think it would be good if you paired him with a Vasquez, who's a great defender. But, I mean, he couldn't hit. That was the problem. He wasn't communicating, I guess, well with the pitchers, which is why he was sent down. Then Blake Swihart has said now that he had the season-ending injury that he'll be working back out at catcher. Wow. Now that left field is kind of taken over by Benintendi.
How good is because we haven't really I don't think we've had enough time to see it, but how good is Swihart supposed to be on offense?
He's good.
He's supposed to be good.
He is.
He is.
When he's played in stretches, he should at least hit about 270, 280. You know what I mean?
Sure. But he's not that. I mean, Benintendi is rated higher, I feel.
Yeah, but Swihart could be an elite offensive player. Like
okay,
if he's had the health concerns the last couple of years and playing the catching situation. Well, I mean,
can he play third?
That's what I'm asking myself.
Yeah.
Third or first.
Oh, maybe moving
into one of the
Henley might be good enough to stay at first. To be honest.
Well, I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves. But
yeah, for sure.
I think it is.
Yeah, you're right.
But it is interesting to look at for 2017. Travis Shaw is no lock at
you
third
can't
base.
help it,
right now.
And it helps that like you have like Ortiz retiring.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think he should give a hard, serious look at maybe sticking around for one more year. But I totally respect if he doesn't do it. He shouldn't do it for his own personal thing. He shouldn't do it. But like him moving on though does open like a little door. Now you have a DH
and you have
that
a lot,
you can play with.
And you have a lot of options, right?
Yeah.
So you have Hanley at first and Travis Shaw at third, right? This year been predominantly those guys.
Yeah.
Travis Shaw is no lock next year. I mean, he
Right.
started the season off really well. He's down to like a 250, 260 hitter.
Which is not good considering he started off so well, which means he's been in a slump for 4 months.
He's kind of going the Will Middlebrooks route right now. Maybe he could still be a piece on your bench, though. You still obviously give him a shot. You have Hanley. Then you have to think of Yohan Moncada. Moncada has been playing at third base in the minors. They're thinking of bringing him up at some point. He is him and
He's supposed to be the future, right?
He's supposed to be better than Benintendi.
What?
Moncada's the number 1 prospect. Benintendi's the number 2. You know what I mean?
Oh my god!
If you bring him in, then you still have Pablo Sandoval. I mean, he's going to be here for the next 3 years.
You managed this right, Red Sox. This should be the best offense in
for the
Major
next
League Baseball for at least the next 5 years. And let's be honest, they're young enough where it should be the next 10 years.
Right. You still have Blake Swihart. You want to work somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You still have Brock Holt, your super utility player. So you just have to figure all that out. But I think the Red Sox are in great position. I think they're now either tied or in first place right now. because they did just win tonight 6-2 against the Tigers.
The division, unlike the Patriots, the
AL
AFC East over there, the AL East is stacked.
And even the teams that are kind of out of it, like the Yankees, are still playing well enough where it's giving the other teams
They're
problems.
really not out of it, though. That's the thing.
That's
All
the
they
thing.
have to do is go on a tear. Like the Red Sox, they're in a very similar situation to what the Red Sox were when they won back in
04.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they had underachieved for the first good part of the season, and then went on this huge tear for the last 2 months and destroyed. They made the playoffs, and the rest is history.
Right.
Ravi, were you gonna say something about our beloved Red Sox?
Actually, speaking of Ravi,
Absolutely not.
I think that's I think there's not much more to say on the Red Sox there.
Go Red Sox!
We're cheering. We're
Red Sox.
we're definitely in the postseason push.
It's exciting. It's a good time.
And this is the last.
This is the best part of the season.
The last 2 years have been last place finishes.
Yeah.
So as a Red Sox fan, it's exciting that you're really in it, and we're actually.
It's exciting young talent. Like that's the best part is you don't just watch the games to see if they're gonna win. You're gonna watch the games because you could see something. You could see Cookie Betts hitting 2-3-run homers in a game. You could see Ortiz hitting a home run. You could see
Xander Bogaerts.
You could see JBJ laying out, making a ridiculous catch or
apparently
throw.
Benintendi either did or.
Benintendi hitting his first home run
the
a couple
other
days
day,
ago, which was sweet. Like it's just so much good stuff going on with that
and
team.
it's a fun personable.
It's the way the baseball should be played.
Let's get to Ravi's Asks.
Where's David Ortiz?
He's killing it in the
in his
with
last
David
season.
Ortiz.
Ortez.
This is his last season, right?
Yes.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
You're 41 years old.
I'm not actually, but thanks.
No. Imagine. You're 41 years old.
Right.
You're having maybe either the third, the second, or the first best season that you've ever had in your
playing career.
Right.
And you said well before this season that you're going to retire. Mm-hmm. Your body is older. You don't get to see your kids enough, and. But anyway, you're having the best season ever. Do you go back on your retirement plans and come back and play next year?
No.
Because you are having... Okay, cool.
No.
Why is that?
Well, here's the
Well,
question.
the main reason is when you're gearing on this. I think this goes to like any kind of a career or anything of that nature, right? Mm-hmm. Is that when you reach that point where you're going to retire, right?
Yeah.
You don't come out of you don't necessarily jump out of the retirement idea or the pool or whatever because you're doing well.
Let me ask you a question.
You're jumping into retirement because you're at that point where you're kind of done with whatever that is, and it's now time to focus on the other stuff.
So I agree with you. I don't think there's only one way I see David Ortiz changing his mind. The Boston Red Sox make the World Series and lose a heartbreaker in like 6 or 7 games. I think if you end it that way and such like a bitter pill, you know what I mean? Like I don't think Ortiz would want to end his career that way somehow.
But I mean, it's like we said at the very beginning of the show, right?
Sure.
I mean, sports and all that, it's a job.
Yeah.
I understand. You want to end it on a high or whatever, but at the same time, there are other things besides the job.
True.
Sure.
He's
made all the money he'd ever want.
And I mean, you have to ask yourself, okay, Mr. Ortiz has said I'm retiring. I'm sure there are other factors as to why now he's decided to retire.
Yeah, he's 41 years old.
He's had a lot of ankle injuries.
Yeah, so
like, he can barely walk at this point, and he said like he wants to be able to walk.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this question, right? Let's say you work for a company, and you've put in a good 21 years with it, and in the last you're going to retire. You said you're going to retire. You're going to give it 12 more months, but in the last 8 months. The company went from being, making, let's say, $2 million a year, and it's jumped up to $30 million a year.
Sure.
And you're a big part of that reason. You're really going to leave all your coworkers.
Your coworker. I mean, the management and stuff will.
Sure. But at the same time, you sticking around for another season, year, or whatever.
Does it do anything?
Does the company fold and go under? I mean,
what if you're a huge reason for why that company is making $30 million?
Okay, but then what if you break your ankle and now you have to retire? You're forced to retire, and now you can't walk.
Or you're working so hard, you're straining your relationships at home or whatever.
Sure. I guess only he could answer that.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I look at it as I'm hoping one day in my own personal life I'll be able to retire. But I imagine that when I decide that I'm retiring, it's because, I'm done with work.
Yeah.
I want to focus on other things. I want to enjoy the remainder of my life or whatever. I mean, we're not meant to just do the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah, we
over
evolve.
and over. We want to do other things. We want to do other things.
We evolve like Pokemon.
Pidgeotto.
Pidgeot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and to my fun section that is basically the crown jewel of our show here. That's my ego talking, by the way.
I didn't notice.
I actually don't have quite a bit. I don't really have much going on this week. So
Crown jewel, Ravi, you're letting us down right now.
Ravi, why don't you ask us about the U.S. men's basketball team winning gold at the Olympics?
Oh yeah, Jesus, we didn't even talk
because we forgot to talk about it.
Wait, is that important?
Well,
it's kind of a big deal.
How's it a big deal? It's basketball. I would expect America to win.
You would think, and it is their third straight gold.
They didn't win in 2004.
Yeah,
that was like a long time ago.
12 years.
That's like a decade and 2 days.
We were all sentient at that time.
The biggest story surrounding it is that one, they weren't as dominant as most people were expecting. Two, Kozlowski, I believe it was his last U.S. Olympic. Guess who's coaching the future Olympic?
Brad Stevens.
Doc Rivers.
No, that'd be interesting, but no.
Right?
Actually, he would have been a great choice, but no.
Thank you.
It's Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich is going to be taking.
Who is he?
He's the Bill Belichick of the NBA, almost
So
a carbon
sad.
copy.
But he's so
mad.
old.
He's divorced.
So is Bill Belichick.
Is he divorced?
Age has nothing to do with it. If you have the
imagine.
passion, your mind is still there, and you can get what you need out of your players. You do it. You could be 92. And
Now, do you think Popovich will put Stevens on the roster, the coaching staff, though?
Because
They have great. Popovich has great respect for Brad Stevens.
Why not? That'd be great for us.
I would just like to point out I didn't bring this topic.
I do want to say, actually, I know you didn't, but I do want to say one more thing. I've never been a huge Carmelo Anthony fan in my life. He plays for the Knicks currently, but I thought the raw emotion he had at the end of getting the gold. He's been to 4 straight Olympics. He's won 3 gold. He's the only.
He's the most decorated U.S. Olympian.
U.S. men's basketball Olympian. He's the only
isn't Phelps the most decorated gold medalist in U.S.
Oh yeah,
He's the most decorated Olympian ever.
For basketball though. Ever. It's not LeBron. It's not Michael Jordan. It's not Kobe. It's Carmelo.
Wait. LeBron James went to the Olympics?
Yeah. Of course.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he didn't go this year.
I thought he was too busy with his Cleveland reality show.
Or Trainwrecked.
What's that?
It's a movie with Amy Schumer.
Oh yeah, you didn't see Trainwreck? He's actually really good at Trainwreck.
I don't watch movies.
Yes, you do.
Comedic movies are pointless.
You like Ted 2?
Ted 2's different. That's a animated film.
Wait, did I see Ted 2 yet?
Yeah, we watched it.
Wow, I don't remember.
You liked it though.
Remember they go to Tom Brady's house? And
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember the movie. Was I drunk?
Probably.
Yeah, we watched it here, and
Did I black out?
So that's all I have, which wasn't really me asking
was
anything.
nothing.
Well, actually, it gets finished though. So Carmelo,
I'll let you finish.
So Carmelo announced his retirement from Olympic basketball, and he just kind of showed a lot of emotion and talked about not even just like his own role, but like the role of athletes and kind of what's going on in the world, and how he felt proud to kind of represent the U.S. and trying to change things. And he definitely like teared up at a couple points. And for a guy who's always been knocked at for not caring in the NBA, taking the money, never winning a championship, never really being on championship caliber teams, I think this kind of dispelled that notion, hopefully.
And it should never have come to that, though. He's the most socially aware athlete.
By far. Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. If we were bigger, I would get ripped for this. But maybe since Muhammad Ali. Like, he might be the most socially aware in terms of, like, important issues that most athletes don't feel like they're allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
He not LeBron.
No.
Not Stephen Curry.
No.
Not Russell Westbrook. Not Kevin Durant. It's Carmelo, who has really been the backbone of at least men's basketball, the athlete, the superstars, being like, we have a position of power, we have to take advantage of this platform, let's call attention to the issues that we feel are important, and I it might be blasphemy, and apologies if I could be wrong here, but I think he might be the most outspoken athlete in terms of those issues, those important social issues, since Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't think of anyone else who's done it. But again, it's very
quick. That's a great
quick question. Say his
athletes.
last name one more time.
Anthony, Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo, isn't Carmelo like a type of chocolate?
It is.
I think it is. It's delicious.
Now I want chocolate.
Unbelievable.
Anyway,
wait, actually,
that bombshell.
I think that's a great way to end the Lateral episode number 5. Be sure, if you're watching us, and even if you're not, if you're listening to us on iTunes, please follow us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, check out our Instagram, our Vine. Maybe we'll get a Snapchat one day. But
we're not on Snapchat?
No, because it's really hard to switch your Snapchat accounts on your
Oh, that hasn't made it easy for us.
Snapchat doesn't make
Snapchat.
sense.
Snapchat's a little.
Hey, come on,
But
Snapchat.
one day we'll get it there.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but we're a big fan of Heineken. So drink more Heineken. It will rehydrate you. It's really good for you. Lots of vitamin, lots of protein.
Make sure to drink a lot of H2O as well. And drink and drive responsibly, please.
Just don't drink and drive.
So, thanks for watching the show. Again, please subscribe and all that. And, leave us some comments, some feedback on the show, anything you want to see. We've also started releasing segments of the full show.
Yeah, so if you don't have time for the whole thing,
Yeah.
keep a lookout. And this is for both our podcasts.
Both the LuZo cast and the Lateral.
Yeah. We're releasing segments. So if, a lot of people out there aren't interested in, the Olympics, or they're not interested in UFC, we'll have segments for other parts, so you don't have to invest the full
hour plus,
hour and a half, 2 hours, 10 days.
And I like to end on this note. Tom Brady, if you're watching or listening, and you need a platform for September, we are always open, and we will provide.
We'll try and make time for you. We can't guarantee it.
We'll provide snacks and a single beer.
A Heineken single beer.
Heineken. Yep.
Could be skunked.
Drink fresh.
And with that, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Beer.
Now with more.
We don't own the rights to that song. You can't do that. No,
You can make your own version.
Oh,